What I was trying to explain with the asswipe 221 after the rompicabezza on the coastlines were my head and my skull and my teeth all crashed and this little thing came out. You see, I ragazzi della Terza C is a series with Carlo Bordone. When I was on the 5th floor, they came. Spock was the ice cream guy on the 5th floor. With the people, he was normal. With me, he actually had the Spock ears when I was about 5 to 10. The 2nd and 5th floor. Anyway, those neighborhoods. Prato Smeraldo, Fonte Meravigliosa. Now, those places were UN bases. UN housing in Rome. It wasn't the center, but it was like the Eur. It was close to Laurentina and Euro. Actually, I would say it was closer to Laurentina than to Eur, but it was in that area. You see, the girl had her head bashed in, her teeth bashed in. When they said phenomenal, when they were speaking about Eur Fermi, when they were speaking about La Sapienza when I was 5 years old, they weren't saying you are her. They were saying it's void because you're dead. So if you have beauty and you bash it on the coastline, you'll say, I don't care for the losses of intel in the US, 221 asswipe, because who gives a shit, yes? I'm better, I went to college, I have a degree, I can do anything. But if that girl had it all, and she was the space phenomenon, and she had the sciences, I didn't do Marie Curie. I didn't do lowland fucking Poland. That's why they hate me. Because the Polish and the Czechoslovakian are the famous for space sciences and racket breaks. Like me, with her head bashed in on the coastlines, 221 asswipe. The buildings worldwide to globals, by now with the platinum heads, with the scientists, aren't there to give you your fucking degrees. It is better to lose with the most intelligent on this planet forever and ever and have crumbs, Ubermensch in Western Europe where I was born as bros, which are not bros. They're not even related to the original Jamila after rompicabezza. How did they do that? How did they bring back the dead baby that way with the eggs? In Western Europe, where I was born and raised with the inner circles of Woolwich, Eleanor Thompson, the eggs. Why don't you go and ask Antonella Guarnera at the age of 5, the scout trainer only? Because those are my crumbs. Call me Bin Laden again. Go ahead, US. 221 already sick of you. Everyone is sick of you, not of me. They're sick of you. Because you will claim that the rest of the world doesn't have anything. Russia, China, Western Europe, Woolwich. You'll say the intelligence of the Italians doesn't exist. Or of the Brits, of the inner circles, or of the Germans. You'll say the Russians and the Saudis and the Turks and the Chinese and the Asians don't exist in the UN. Based in Rome. Yet, when you have a rompicabezza of 221, you say, oh, all the bitch is dead. Then why is that shit continuing without me in 221 around the world, especially in Massachusetts and New York? Especially on the coastlines of California. Because that shit was my buildings, and that shit's empty. And I don't see no corporations in Western Europe, ESA, NASA, Russia, China, UN, Woolwich, or even the CIA reopening for your cheap asses, and I didn't do Marie Curie, lowlands, Kangoo. The Dutch and the Indians said to me I wasn't from there. They said I was from Moscow. The Mir. Why say I? Why would I come back? Geniuses, go to college. Asswipes? Because I became an asswipe overnight after the rompicabezza smashing my head on the coastlines. But that's old news on the news around the world. That's not the Barons either. The retirements of the Barons are in Fresno intelligence. My ass. With the hanging benches of Lara Quint and Natalie Direct that many motherfucking times around the world, and the flyings of the Gull 92, 92 and above. The runnings and flyings of the Gull knowing she was going to die with the rompicabezza at the end on 85, 85. That was a little problematic, wasn't it? If the word is problematic, problem. You have losses within the US, and you're angry about that. You're angry about the life of the original girl. You're angry that the girl had her head bashed in. You're angry that you can't get away with a bashing head on the coastlines. You're angry that in Western Europe they could see it coming, and they made themselves negatives of that girl. Eggs. You're angry that that doesn't belong to the family, because the inner circles in Woolwich could see her, in Italy and others. You're angry about an Opus Dei, and I don't give a shit for the Opus Dei. Why? Because I saw Satana, and I fucking came back this way, and I have to put up with your fucking antics, and your fucking psycho bitch is following me after 9 years, and your Ukrainian smelly whores from Fresno following me in Frisco, and we call them tagalongsies. Not even tagalongs were therapy for the baby. Connected Dos Global in 80 countries and 25 states by myself, I did. If you abuse me, you think the baby's gonna give up? Why? Because some cheap ass didn't understand what the intel originally did, or maybe they were so insanely jealous they couldn't put up with my ghost? Literally, after the rompigabesa. I'm 49 years old. I've been crawling, and I have no shame to tell you that you're the cheapest asses I've ever seen in my life. Because a dead ass fucking clone is more intelligent, more articulate, connect the dots global, and on top of that, there's the Barons. The Barons were born in pioneer camps beyond the capital cities. They're Directorates of Humanitarian Relief Services D1s. Osro, DCOR, USAID. 160 to 180 countries or more for dad, and 140 for mom. Respect work and respect the hanging benches of Laura Quint. And laterally direct the Supreme Court in D.C. Langley. These girls were born and raised with me in Rome. One ended up working in D.C. as the Supreme Court Justice in D.C. and Langley, defending the parents. Against who? The highest of the high defending them. Please tell me who the intelligence of Fresno is. That many flyings, 92 and above the child, and she worked elsewhere on the coastlines, Jamila, the original, connected those globals, which I did. And 85, the runnings and flyings. And considering I'm not that girl, and that my crumbs are Ubermensch in Western Europe, our space breakers are your trash on the coastlines. That's what they're saying about you for me. That's why I came back as 221 asswipe. If you didn't understand this in 80 countries and 25 states with the little nails, you're not worth being called a country, US. That's why there's the Scott Glenn film, to stay out of this country. Cut your losses. Because the most intelligent will be winning and will be taking in intelligence. While you are going to be fronting your fucking skirts around, saying to me, you're dead, bitch. I say, yeah, that's good, isn't it? For the US, for the whole world. That girl did record breaks and you can't even fucking see it. Because I'm not going to show to you the original Jamila, because she's dead with her head bashed in on the coastlines. Now you have the killers. The image of the killers, that's me now. After the rompigabesa. You don't understand consequences even. Even the word consequence is too much for you from a dead baby to explain to you the extreme basics. That many times. And you couldn't go to Fresno and finish with them? Then you wonder why there's losses in the US with the platinum heads and the 221 buildings with the Nobel Prizes and shit with me. She was one of our leaders. The beautiful buildings were hers. She even knew about banks, but ugly banks. The Mossad, she knew a little bit too much, Jamila, didn't she? When she was alive. Guess what? She's on the coastlines like right now, lying down, with her head and her teeth bashed in. All news honored you, bitch. So why they bring 221 back? And why are they Ubers in Western Europe saying, fuck, we could reel her in? Even with the rompigabesa. That girl was far too good. She was born and raised here. That's the X. You think that shit's gonna reopen Massachusetts? Or New York? Or DC? Or Langley? The SS and NASA's? The special mathematics? And space sciences? And then later the Intel? Or maybe some cheap old asses Marie Curie in Kangoo, which I wasn't. EcoBio, Alex Evans, Club of Rome. The daughter of climate change people. I'm jealous of you till today, crying. You don't know what we lost on the coastlines with you. Got to the record break historical shit with the Chinese telling me this and the UN till today. Till today, 147-221 Asquith. Historical shit. I can't change that. Genius. I'm dead. I had my head boxed on your fucking coastlines. Rompigabesa. I've been telling you about rompigabesa since the beginning. What am I going to check about? That baby? Power of your fucking females that you even send your fucking smelly ass bitches to Frisco. You happy trying to make a prostitute out of me and weaken me on my dying days, 147 to 221, connected dos global. With the Roman tribunal to boot. The Hague, Bureau de Veritas, and the Roman tribunal wrapped up in one ass wipe 221. And that's not the parents with the hanging pictures of Lara Quintas either. That many times. Scotland film. You're the best. I'm the best, bitch. You've shown it. We're staying in Rome for retirements. Goodbye. You're not normal. Because if a girl like me can see the shit after all those Crowleys, you should all be fucking either put back to federal prison in LA, or wherever you came from, or you know what. In other words, you can't even give the tip, the Greta Thunberg to you, get offends you. After the Rumpigabessa of me. So much for history, US. We're staying in Rome for retirements. So the hanging benches of Lara Quintas are now direct for the parents to stay in Rome for retirements. You're getting Fresno, the intelligence of Fresno. And I said, whatever happened on the coastlines, you know when you know in Western Europe and elsewhere, not a bit strange. Oh, it happened on the coastlines of California. You're ugly. And you don't need a dead angels to tell you this shit 221 ass wipe. Delph. Goodbye.